The Avengers movie is out this week, and there's a team of superheroes in this movie who have been featured in recent films of their own, including Iron Man and the Hulk and Captain America. And you wrote about the television show Heroes on NBC, which also featured a team of superheroes. And you saw that as an example of how a Marxist society might work. Can you explain the connection that you see between superhero teams and Marxism?
This idea of outcasts, freaks, building a society, a group of their own. And this is important because I think that the official storyline is, in communism all people are equal, mechanical, like copies of each other, while in capitalism we have individualism. Where, I'm sorry to tell you, but I see less and less individualism in developed capitalist countries. When millions of people are interested in figures like Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian or whatever, where do you see any individualism here?
But do you think that American superheroes mean something different now because America's superpower status is waning, according to some?
Yeah, but this is always the function of the superheroes, I claim. Superheroes have to enter precisely when normal society cannot do it. For example, this is why when I was visiting Cuba years ago, I saw on their own TV on how Fidel Castro visited a small village and, gave them advice how to fix the roof, how to do this, that. And I told to my friend there, are you aware what negative propaganda this is? The message is that even for a simple thing like fixing the roof or whatever, the leader has to come. So nothing functions effectively on its own.
In your book you write, it's easy to imagine the end of the world, an asteroid destroying all life and so on. But you cannot imagine the end of capitalism. Why is the end of the world easier to imagine than the end of capitalism?
Because the fantasy is that somehow capitalism has to survive. Capitalism is part of the very frame through which I observe reality. So even when we try to overcome it, we think in its terms, which is why, incidentally, it's really difficult to imagine how to get out of it. The proof for me was Occupy Wall Street, namely, I was doing something for which many leftists hated it. I was at Wall Street here, Zuccotti Park in New York. I was in Germany, in Amsterdam. I visited all these places. And I was always asking them one stupid question. What do you want? What do you propose? They don't have any idea. It was just a pure protest. I am aware you have to begin like this, but at some point it will not be enough. We literally lack imagination.
One of the things that you said to the Occupy Wall Street protesters, your advice to them was, don't fall in love with yourselves. What did you mean by that?
By this, I mean that, when you have these mass movements, thousands of people, you feel one with them and so on and so on. It's very easy to start enjoying it. My God, that's it. But here I'm a ruthless pragmatic. Okay, these sublime moments are nice. What interests me is the morning after, the day after. What of all this will survive in the sense of changing our ordinary, everyday life?
Let's apply some of that to what happened in Europe this week, because in France, the far-right National Front had its most success with voters ever, particularly among young people. Why do you think the far-right is doing so well in France?
It's not only in France. The whole of Europe is, I think, regressing to such an extent that we Europeans are losing even a minimal right to patronize you, North Americans, United States and Canadians, as you know, rather primitive, blah, blah, compared with sophisticated Europe. It's not only France, it's simply all around. The true question here cannot be even formulated in the standard liberal, tolerant terms, like, these primitives, afraid of freedom, whatever. No. I don't think that the true struggle is between liberal, multicultural, tolerant Democrats, open market, open human communication, all the postmodern freedoms, and the anti-immigrant, fundamentalist, populist reaction. I think that this is part of the same infernal cycle. Both sides are mutually reinforcing each other. I think that only a new, reinvented left can save us.
You've been called the most dangerous philosopher in the West, and you've also been called the Elvis of cultural theory. Do you think that either of those is an accurate description of who you are?
the Elvis of cultural theory is basically a way to neutralize me. Is to say, okay, he's an amusing guy, he has many jokes, dirty stories, go and listen to him, but just don't take him too seriously. Okay, maybe I deserve it a little bit. I know I have in me this imp of perversity, as Edgar Allan Poe would have put it, no, to provoke. But this is so, I almost like when my critics now are shifting from this position of, oh, an interesting clown, to this more radical rejection of beneath the mask of the clown there is a terrifying, dangerous message, a deadly gesture. But I ignore them because you know what I am. I'm much more a pessimist. I see problems in today's global capitalism. And more that I analyze them, the more I'm convinced that these problems cannot be simply solved within the existing frame. That something will have to be done. Maybe nothing will be done. In that case, I claim, we are approaching a new authoritarian society. It will not be the old-style fascism. It will be something like, maybe the best British movie of all times for me, Terry Gilliam's from Monty Python.
Brazil?
Terry Gilliam's Brazil, yeah. Society which will be openly hedonistic, half-crazy. It will be like Groucho Marx in power, you know. I claim Italy's Berlusconi came pretty close to it, you know.
But at the core, it's Orwell. It is fascism. It is totalitarianism.
No, you know where it's not Orwell. Orwell is for me way too simplistic, even optimistic. Orwell still believes that free love, authentic human relation, and so on, serves against totalitarian power. Mm-hmm. Here, Orwell, I think, gets it deeply wrong. You can have a society which is sexually permissive, consumerist, blah, 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 totally different from what Orwell depicts, and it's still totalitarian. I think that today the predominant form of ideology is a kind of enlightened hedonism. It's not sacrifice yourself for your country. The predominant ideology in the West is some kind of a slightly spiritualized, this is why Dalai Lama is so popular, slightly spiritualized hedonism. Mm-hmm. Be yourself. Make something out of yourself. Be what you truly authentic are. Realize your potential. Be true to yourself. And so on, all that stuff.
Slavoj Zizek, it's been so stimulating to talk to you. How did you feel when gossip columnists picked up on a story last year that suggested you were romantically involved with Lady Gaga?
I had to laugh so much. People have such a crazy idea of me that I move in these fashionable circles. First, I'm misanthropic. I like to be alone for days, not talking to every man. I read my serious literature. I listen exclusively to classic movies. Do you know that even now, I haven't listened not even to one song by Gaga? Can I tell you a secret?
Yes.
Okay, I'm telling it to many people. I know, haha, secret here. But nonetheless, that more than half of the movies that I've written about, I haven't seen them. Like, for example, I criticized Titanic and Avatar.
Yes.
Avatar is so boring. After 10 minutes, I jumped to the end and said, life is finite. I don't have time for this kind of stuff.
Slavoj Zizek, thank you for being with us.
I'm really grateful. I love Canada. I think you should invade the United States, make it a colony. In the new world of Hunger Games, you should be that capital, and you should do the Hunger Games, and Americans should send people ready to die to you.
We'll have to do a lot of national adjustment to do that, but it's not impossible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.